Congratulations on purchasing the most revolutionary do-it-yourself floor coating system ever introduced. This product is truly an industrial-grade system, far superior to that of any epoxy paint. Our patent-pending system will allow you to finish your floor in hours, not days, with a return to service within 24 hours. All of this with the durability and speed that only Polyurea can offer. Other supplies needed: shop vac with squeegee attachment, pressure washer to clean the floor, 9-inch roller frame with extension handle, 3-inch disposable paint brushes, quantity of 2, disposable rubber gloves, stiff bristle broom, garden hose with spray nozzle, blue masking tape, safety equipment for etching, protective plastic sheeting, poly or tarp, protective safety glasses, respirator, silica sand, plastic watering can. Coverage. This RockSolid Floors kit provides the materials generally required to cover 250 square feet or a single car garage. The coverage of the coating is dependent on the porosity of the concrete being coated and the application technique utilized. This product is designed to be applied very thin with the supplied 9-inch foam roller. Application of this material to stairs, vertical surfaces, or wood will have reduced coverage rates. A little goes a long way. Before you begin the process of preparing the floor for coating, it is important to perform a series of tests to ensure proper coating adhesion. You need to determine if the concrete has been previously sealed by utilizing a simple test of pouring a small amount of water onto the surface in various areas of the floor. If the water beads, a sealer is present and needs to be either chemically or mechanically removed with a diamond grinder, available at a local rental store. Please visit RockSolidFloors.com for more information and recommendations. If the floor has been previously coated, you need to determine if the coating is well adhered to the surface. With a razor blade, cut an X through the coating and down to the concrete. Apply a 5-inch piece of tape over the X and press down firmly. Completely remove the tape with one quick pull. If more than 10% of the taped area is removed, the original coating is not bonded well and needs to be removed chemically or mechanically with a diamond grinder. If you have determined the coating is well adhered, completely degloss the surface using 40 to 80 grit sandpaper and wiping down the surface with MEK. Please make sure to wear the proper protective equipment and follow the manufacturer's instructions. Mechanical grinding will be necessary to remove coatings that show any signs of delamination from the surface. If the existing coating is failing in any way, peeling, chipping, flaking, etc., RockSolid Floors highly recommends removing the entire coating and starting the application process with a fresh, clean, dry concrete surface. Contact your local hardware store for more information on grinder rental. If you sand or remove old coatings, you may release lead dust. Lead is toxic. Exposure to lead dust can cause serious illness such as brain damage, especially in children. Pregnant women should also avoid exposure. Wear a NIOSH-approved respirator to control lead exposure. Clean up carefully with a HEPA vacuum and a wet mop. Before you start, find out how to protect yourself and your family by contacting the National Lead Information Hotline at 1-800-424-LEAD or log on to www.epa.gov/lead. Testing for moisture. Apply a 3-foot by 3-foot sheet of plastic, such as a heavy-duty garbage bag or plastic sheeting, to an area on the floor. Tape down the edges with tape and allow it to sit for 24 to 48 hours. If water droplets appear on the inside of the plastic, or if the concrete appears wet or dark in color, moisture is present in the concrete. See RockSolidFloors.com for more information. Temperature extremes. The ideal temperature range when working with RockSolid Floors products is 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius. Warmer temperatures will shorten working times. Cooler temperatures will require longer cure times. Preparation of the concrete using the RockSolid Floors Safe Etch should not be attempted below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. If it is raining or if it is extremely damp out, it is not recommended to coat the floor. Concrete substrate must be completely dry at the time of application to achieve proper adhesion. Concrete inspection. Concrete is different in many areas of the country. Some concrete is especially hard, which will require extra etching. If you have soft and chalky concrete or areas of concrete that have spalling, chipping, or cracking, use the RockSolid Floors Fast Patch to repair and level out the floor prior to coating. RockSolid Floors Fast Patch is mixed at a 1-to-1 ratio and applied with a putty knife to the affected area. Due to its unique characteristics, it does not have to fully cure before applying the RockSolid Floors Polyurea Garage Coat. You must apply the garage coat before the fast patch is fully cured, otherwise it will become too smooth to coat over. If the fast patch has fully cured, you will need to degloss the surface using 40 to 80 grit sandpaper and wiping the surface down with MEK. Please make sure to wear the proper protective equipment and follow the manufacturer's instructions. Prior to etching, tire dressing and other unseen contaminants carried in from vehicles will cause issues with the coating's adhesion. Prior to etching the floor, locate areas where the tires are when the vehicle is parked and test them by spraying water on them. The water should soak in to show that the area is ready for coating. If there are areas where water beads on the surface, it represents a possible contamination, oil, wax, or tire dressing. This must be treated prior to coating. Utilize the RockSolid Floors Safe Etch solution at 100% concentrate to the area of contamination and rinse thoroughly. The use of a palm or belt sander with 80 grit sandpaper is also recommended. If water continues to bead on the surface, retreat area again until the beading stops. Use the RockSolid Floors Safe Etch included in your kit to open the pores of the concrete to provide the proper adhesion required for a long-lasting floor. The etching is required on all uncoated concrete, new and old. Do not etch partially coated concrete slabs. While the etching will prepare the concrete, cleaning is to be done prior to etching using a professional grade degreaser. If utilizing a pressure washer to clean the floor, please make sure to wear the proper protective equipment. Use tape to mask off a straight line underneath the garage door. Keep children and pets indoors and away from work area at all times during the installation. Please make sure to read and follow all safety guidelines during all phases of the application. Thoroughly sweep out all dust and dirt on the floor and apply a mist of water to the surface. The concrete should accept water evenly and consistently across the entire surface to be coated. If there are areas of beading on the surface, it represents a possible contamination, oil, wax, or tire dressing. These areas need to be cleaned with a full concentrate of a professional grade degreaser prior to etching. Scrub the area with a stiff bristle broom, rinse, and inspect again. If water continues to bead on the surface, retreat the stain and scrub again until water no longer beads in that area. Once you have determined that water is no longer beading on the surface, you are now ready to etch the concrete. Please see recommended safety practices located on container. Mix the contents with 3/4 of a gallon of water. Slowly add the mixed product to a plastic watering can. Working in a 10 by 10 section of the floor, pour out the etching solution evenly on the floor. Scrub the solution around with a stiff bristle broom. Upon the initial application of the Safe Etch, a frothing should occur for a few seconds while being scrubbed. If the concrete does not froth, it means that there is a sealer on the floor and it must be chemically or mechanically removed. When the frothing stops, rinse the solution and move on to the next section. When all sections are completed, rinse 3 times and scrub with a stiff bristle broom while rinsing. To speed up the drying process, use a floor squeegee to push all excess water to the center of the floor and then vacuum up. Do not leave pooled water on the floor. Let the floor dry for at least 2 to 4 hours or overnight with the door open. It is imperative that the floor be completely dry before applying any coatings. A good rule of thumb is to wait 24 hours. Place tarp on the ground and thoroughly mix the material in the RockSolid Floors Polyurea Garage Coat pouch by shaking it both up and down and back and forth and squeezing each side of the pouch. Any clumps or thick spots need to be massaged to break them up and blend them in. Once the material is thoroughly mixed, open the pouch and add the Garage Coat color tint by pouring the entire contents of the container into the pouch, using a paint stick to scrape the sides to get all of the tint out. This is an imperative step to the success of the installation. Reseal the top, fold the pouch over in half, and shake the contents for 30 to 60 seconds. For installations that will involve multiple kits, it is suggested to combine all the color tints together before adding them to the garage coat pouches. To do so, pour all of the individual color tints into a large plastic mixing container and blend them together with a paint stick until a uniform color is achieved. Then simply pour the tint back into the color tint containers evenly and add to the pouches one at a time. This will ensure a uniform color over the entire surface. Do not install the RockSolid garage coat outside the garage door. If you go beyond the garage door, the coating will fade and change in color. Garage coat application. Pour a small amount of the mixed material from the pouch on the floor about a foot back from the corner wall in roughly 2 to 3 foot ribbons. A little of this goes a long way. Using a 3-inch paintbrush, cut in the material around the perimeter on half the area to be coated. RockSolid Floors recommends using the 9-inch foam roller to allow for a smoother, professional installation, and to work the product until a thin and an opaque gray is achieved. Apply material in 4 foot by 4 foot sections in a thin and even coat across the floor using an M&W pattern. This pattern will provide the most uniform results. If the product seems to be transparent, continue to work the material with the roller until a solid color is achieved. Continue to pour out small amounts of the material as needed and continue the floor. When nearing the end of this material, place the pouch upside down on the floor to get all the material out. To avoid creating thick spots, do not overlap into previously coated areas. Attempt to stay 2 feet away from the previously coated area. Use the roller to pull the material back towards you first, then push it forward to fill in the void between the sections. Always reseal and fold the pouch over in half to ensure the unused product is not exposed to the atmosphere. Do not pour material over control joints or cracks or allow material to pool in low spots of the floor. This is a single component product that will stay liquid until it is spread out in a thin millage on the surface. At that point, the atmosphere will start to cure the product. For a more aggressive, non-slip coating, use clear silica sand and decorative chip during the application. Do so by grabbing small pinches of either material between your index finger and thumb and throwing it up into the air until the wet coating. Please make sure to wear the proper protective equipment and follow the manufacturer's instructions. Once a strip across the entire back wall has been coated, you may broadcast the RockSolid decorative chip if desired. Do so by grabbing small pinches of chip between your index finger and thumb and throwing it up into the air into the wet coating. The density or coverage of the chip thrown should be consistent throughout the floor for the most uniform finish. It will be important when broadcasting the chip to leave a wet edge. This is a 6 to 12 inch section of the coated floor that will not receive chip until the next section of the floor is applied and rolled into the wet edge, allowing for a seamless application. Once the next section has been coated, you may broadcast chip again and continue this system throughout the floor, cutting in the edges as you go. Depending on temperature and humidity, the average cure time is 4 to 8 hours for foot traffic, 24 hours for vehicle traffic. The coating will need to be dry to allow foot traffic for the optional RockSolid Floors Clear Polyurea Top Coat application. Do not walk on the coating while it's tacky, as you will put permanent footprints in the floor. Use caution tape to block off all points of entry to avoid accidental contamination to the wet coating. Do not lower the garage door down all the way before the coating has fully cured. The best way to test for cure is to touch the coating in the last area that was coated to see if it has tacked over. It should not feel tacky to the touch, and no color should come up on your fingers. This now completes the installation of your RockSolid Floors kit. Clear top coat installation. When applying the RockSolid Polyurea Clear Top Coat, it must be applied within 6 to 8 hours of garage coat. The clear top coat will provide extra protection in areas of heavy use or high traffic. The clear top coat pouch will cover 250 square feet. Place tarp on the ground and thoroughly mix the materials in the clear top coat pouch by shaking it back and forth and squeezing each side of the pouch. Any clumps or thick spots need to be massaged to break them up and blend them in with the rest of the coating. Do this to all pouches so they are ready for mixing prior to breaking the middle seal and combining the two A and B components. Combine the components by placing the pouch on the ground and rolling it from the part A side towards the part B side, like a tube of toothpaste. This will create pressure in the Part A side and force the middle seal to break, thus allowing the two components to mix together. Thoroughly mix the materials by shaking the pouch back and forth and squeezing the edges and corners towards the center of the pouch. Mixing should be done for at least 1 minute. At this point, the product is catalyzed and must be used immediately. Once the material is thoroughly mixed, use a pair of scissors to cut the corner off the pouch and pour contents into a 9-inch paint tray. Use a 3-inch paint brush to cut in around the edges. Use only a 3/8 inch nap delinted high-quality roller cover. Fully saturate the roller and roll out in an M&W pattern to spread the material. Back roll until you have a nice thin and even coat of material over the entire surface. Each RockSolid clear top coat pouch will cover approximately 250 square feet over a sealed floor. This product is not to be used as a clear sealer over bare concrete. For technical support or any other questions and concerns, please contact RockSolid Floors Technical Support at 866-765-4474 or visit us online at rocksolidfloors.com. And remember,
it is that time.